When ancient human warriors resurface in the galaxy HFY, for millennia, the galaxy had known relative peace. The vast consortium of alien civilizations had established an uneasy balance, avoiding the chaos of war through diplomacy and mutual respect. Yet, there was always an underlying fear, a whispered legend shared in the dark corners of the universe of a race that had once conquered the stars through sheer willpower, cunning, and unmatched strength. That race was humanity. Thousands of years had passed since the last known sighting of the humans. Most believed they had perished, consumed by their own violent nature, their ancient battle hymns and war machines buried beneath the sands of time. But in the hidden corners of the galaxy, in forgotten systems shrouded in mystery, a faint trace of their existence lingered. Only a few dared to investigate, and fewer still returned with tales of ancient warriors frozen in time. It was on the outskirts of the Forsaken sector that the Exarax Empire's scouting vessel, Myriath, stumbled upon an anomaly, a small, seemingly insignificant moon orbiting a long-dead star. Sensors picked up strange readings beneath its surface, old and primitive, yet undeniably human. Commander Zortan, an alien known for his meticulous nature, dismissed it as another relic of the past. Yet, something about the readings gnawed at him. With hesitation, he ordered an excavation team to descend onto the moon's surface. As they dug deeper, what they found shook them to their core. Encased in cryogenic chambers, rows upon rows of ancient human warriors stood, their bodies preserved perfectly in stasis. Their armor, though worn and battered, still radiated an air of invincibility. Weapons of unknown technology lay beside them, some still humming with latent power. The team barely had time to process their discovery when the chambers activated. One by one, the humans awoke, their eyes glowing with a fierce intensity. These were no ordinary soldiers, they were the warriors of humanity's past, those who had fought in wars that spanned galaxies, who had faced alien armies and never faltered. They were legends made flesh, and now, they had returned. Commander Zortan watched in awe as the leader of the human warriors stepped forward, his voice echoing through the ship's comms. "I am General Marcus Kaine, commander of Earth's Galactic Vanguard. Tell me, alien, what year is it?" Zortan stammered, struggling to find words. It has been millennia since your kind was last seen. Humanity is but a myth now. You." General Kaine's eyes hardened. "Then the galaxy has grown weak in our absence." Without warning, the humans took control. Their movements were precise, practiced, as if they had awoken from a brief slumber rather than centuries of stasis. The alien crew, despite their advanced technology, were no match for the ancient warriors. Zortan and his team were subdued, their fate hanging in the balance. As Kaine stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars, he spoke softly to his warriors. "We have returned, my brothers and sisters. This galaxy once trembled before us, it will again." Word spread like wildfire. The humans, those brutal, unstoppable beings of ancient legend, had resurfaced. Galaxies that had long dismissed humanity as a fable now shivered with fear. Empires scrambled to prepare for a threat they had long considered extinct. But the humans had not come for diplomacy. They had come to reclaim the galaxy, to remind every civilization why they had once feared the might of Earth. And with General Kaine at the helm, the ancient human warriors would not rest until they had reshaped the stars in their image. As alien fleets rallied to defend their territories, Kaine's voice echoed across the universe, a chilling reminder of humanity's return. "We are the vanguard of Earth, and we have unfinished business with this galaxy." The age of human dominance had returned. As the human warriors mobilized, General Kaine stood at the helm of Myriath, a conquered vessel now under his command. The crew of the Exarax Empire, once proud and invincible, had been relegated to prisoners or allies by force. Yet, Kaine saw little need for allies in the traditional sense. He viewed the galaxy's inhabitants as mere pawns either to be used or eliminated. In the days following their awakening, the humans worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the alien technology they now possessed. Though centuries had passed, their minds were sharp, their instincts unrelenting. The galaxy had grown technologically advanced, but the humans had an uncanny ability to adapt faster than any alien race had anticipated. Kaine's second-in-command, Captain Amina Rhodes, surveyed the interstellar maps displayed on the command bridge. Her sharp eyes scanned the vast star systems, noting the many civilizations that had risen in humanity's absence. She let out a cold chuckle. "They thought they'd forgotten us," she muttered, "but soon, we'll remind them all." Kaine nodded in agreement, his gaze fixed on the map. The Exarax Empire is but the first of many. We strike here. He pointed to a system controlled by the Galactic Coalition, a powerful alliance known for its advanced weaponry and strict neutral stance in intergalactic affairs. But, General, they've stayed out of conflicts for centuries. One of the surviving Exarax officers dared to speak. Their forces are vast. Silence. Kaine's voice cut through the room. We do not ask permission to reclaim what is ours. Humanity once ruled this galaxy through power and fear. The Galactha will be our next target. They will either fall in line or fall entirely. And so, the Ancient Human Warriors launched their campaign. In their sleek, repurposed alien warships, they moved swiftly and mercilessly through the Galactha territory. News of their conquest spread across star systems, creating panic in even the most distant reaches of the galaxy. The once forgotten race of humans was now becoming a force of legend once more. The Galactic Coalition, known for their formidable fleets, were no match for the brutal tactics of the resurrected humans. Where the Galactha relied on intricate strategies and complex diplomacy, the humans fought with precision and sheer willpower. Every encounter ended with devastating losses for the alien fleets. Captain Rhodes led the charge in battle, her tactical brilliance matched only by her ruthless efficiency. She struck at the heart of every Galactha stronghold, dismantling their defenses with a calm and calculated approach. Her warriors, a mix of seasoned soldiers and young recruits awakened from stasis, followed her with unwavering loyalty. The Galactha Council, once proud rulers of a vast domain, were left scrambling to negotiate peace. They sent emissaries, envoys, and offers of wealth and territory, but the humans were not interested in peace, they were interested in dominance. General Kaine's forces moved from system to system, like a tide sweeping through the galaxy. In their wake, they left a trail of fallen civilizations, each one more powerful than the last, yet none could withstand the might of the Ancient Human Warriors. Meanwhile, in the distant halls of the Galactic Federation, the highest governing body of alien races, a state of emergency was declared. The representatives, a mix of species from across the galaxy, convened in a massive chamber. They spoke in hushed tones, their fear palpable. Humanity has returned, one alien representative croaked, his long tentacles trembling. We must unite or face extinction. But unity was a fragile thing. Old rivalries and mistrust ran deep among the galactic races. Each feared that if they joined forces, the humans would crush them regardless of their efforts. Still, the urgency of the situation could not be denied. In the shadows of the Federation's Grand Chamber, an ancient entity observed in silence. It was one of the few remaining elders who had witnessed humanity's reign during the First Galactic War. Its many eyes glistened with a mix of dread and anticipation. They have awakened, it whispered to itself. The warriors of Earth, they will reshape this galaxy as they once did, and this time, no one will stop them. Back aboard Miriath, Kaine watched as his forces celebrated another victory. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, just as they always had, but Kaine knew better. He knew that the greatest strength of humanity wasn't just their brutality in battle, it was their unyielding resolve, their adaptability, and their ability to rise from the ashes of their own destruction. We were once scattered, broken, Kaine said, his voice carrying across the bridge, but we are no longer the forgotten. We are the storm that will cleanse the stars. This galaxy belongs to us, and we will not rest until every last system bends to our will. The human warriors cheered, their voices echoing through the corridors of the ship. They had resurfaced not just to survive, but to conquer. As the stars flickered outside the window, Kaine turned to Rhodes. Prepare the fleet. The Galactic Federation will soon know the price of their complacency. We march on the capital. And so, the galaxy braced itself for the full resurgence of humanity. The warriors who had once ruled the cosmos had returned, and this time, there would be no mercy. The era of human dominance had only just begun. The human fleet surged forward, cutting through the galaxy like a blade through soft flesh. System after system fell under their control. What little resistance the Galactic Federation mustered was quickly crushed by the relentless tide of humanity's advance. The alien races, so used to bureaucracy and drawn-out diplomacy, had no idea how to contend with the sheer force of will, cunning strategy, and brutal efficiency that the ancient human warriors embodied. General Kaine stood on the bridge of Miriath, his eyes locked onto the central holomap. The Galactic Federation's capital, a massive planet known as Siranta, was displayed in the center, surrounded by a sea of defenses. It was the jewel of the galaxy, the heart of politics and power. Taking it would mean breaking the will of the Federation. It would mean the collapse of any organized resistance. Captain Rhodes, Kaine said, his voice calm yet commanding. How soon until we reach Saranta? Rhodes, standing beside him, straightened. 3 days at our current pace. Their defense grid is formidable, but nothing we haven't already torn through. Kaine gave a slight nod. Good. Once we take Saranta, the galaxy will have no choice but to kneel. Prepare the men. This will be our greatest victory yet. Rhodes turned, issuing orders to her officers. Meanwhile, Kaine's mind was already calculating the next steps. The capital would fall, but the galaxy was vast, and there would still be pockets of resistance. Humanity's resurgence wouldn't be complete until every last stronghold was broken, every alien race subdued. He relished the challenge. As the fleet neared Saranta, the Federation scrambled to defend its home. Hundreds of warships, each bristling with the most advanced alien technology, were deployed in a defensive formation around the planet. The Federation's leaders, many of them panicked and uncertain, broadcast desperate pleas for alliances, for reinforcements. But the galaxy was fractured, and few answered the call. On the eve of the battle, Kaine addressed his troops. The humans, clad in their ancient yet fearsome battle armor, stood at attention, their faces grim but determined. My brothers and sisters, Kaine's voice boomed through the calms, reaching every corner of the fleet. We have come far. We have reclaimed our place among the stars. But now, we stand on the precipice of true victory. Saranta, the heart of the Federation, lies before us. They believe their defenses will hold, that their fleets can withstand our might. They are wrong. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the warriors. We are not fighting for conquest alone. We fight for the legacy of humanity, for our ancestors who once ruled this galaxy, and for our children who will inherit it. We fight because we are the strongest, the fiercest, the most relentless force the stars have ever seen. And tomorrow, we will remind them why. The warriors roared in unison, a thunderous sound that reverberated through the fleet. Their blood burned with the desire for battle, their spirits ignited by the promise of total dominance. The next day, the human fleet descended upon Saranta like a storm. The Federation's forces, though vast and advanced, were unprepared for the raw power of the human assault. Kaine's ships, now retrofitted with alien technology, sliced through their defenses with precision. The skies above Saranta were filled with fire and debris as the battle raged on. Captain Rhodes led the charge, her personal strike force carving a path through the Federation's most elite units. Her tactical brilliance was on full display as she outmaneuvered alien commanders, exploiting every weakness with ruthless efficiency. As the battle reached its peak, the Federation's leaders huddled in their fortified command center, watching in disbelief as their fleets were systematically dismantled. The humans had been gone for millennia, how could they have returned with such strength, such ferocity? Within hours, the Federation's fleets were broken. Saranta's planetary shields, once thought impenetrable, collapsed under the concentrated fire of the human warships. The capital, the shining symbol of galactic unity, was now vulnerable. Kaine gave the final order. Begin the ground assault. Thousands of human soldiers descended onto the surface of Saranta, their boots hitting the ground with a force that shook the planet. The alien defenders, already demoralized, could do little to stop the onslaught. The humans moved with precision, their ancient training and battle instincts making them unstoppable. At the heart of the city, Kaine and his elite units stormed the Federation's command center. The alien leaders, once so confident in their superiority, cowered before the human warriors. Kaine strode forward, his presence commanding and terrifying. Your Federation is broken, Kaine declared, his voice cold and unwavering. Your time as rulers of this galaxy is over. One of the alien leaders, trembling, dared to speak. What do you want from us? We can negotiate. Kaine's eyes blazed with intensity. There will be no negotiation. The galaxy belongs to humanity now. You will either fall in line or be destroyed. The choice is yours. With a single, decisive motion, Kaine raised his weapon and fired, ending the alien leader's life. The remaining officials froze, their faces etched with terror. They knew their fate had been sealed. The fall of Saranta sent shockwaves across the galaxy. The Galactic Federation, the once unshakable authority, had crumbled under the weight of humanity's return. Resistance melted away as system after system surrendered, unwilling to face the wrath of the human warriors. Back on Miriath, Kaine watched as the remnants of the alien fleets fled, their once proud banners reduced to ashes. Victory had been absolute. The galaxy was now under human control. But Kaine knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and while many had surrendered, there would still be those who clung to the old ways, who would seek to challenge humanity's dominance. Turning to Rhodes, he spoke quietly, but with the same resolve that had carried them this far. Prepare the fleet. We have more work to do. The galaxy will know the true power of Earth. And so, the ancient warriors of humanity pressed onward, their banners flying high as they reclaimed their rightful place as rulers of the stars. The galaxy, once peaceful and complacent, had been awakened to a new reality, one where humanity reigned supreme, and no power, no matter how ancient or advanced, could stand in their way. The era of human dominance had been restored, and this time, they would not be forgotten. With Saranta firmly under human control, the galaxy trembled in anticipation. The word spread rapidly: humanity had returned, not as mere inhabitants of the stars, but as conquerors. The Galactic Federation's collapse marked the beginning of a new age, and the remaining systems now faced an ultimatum: join or be destroyed. The legends of Earth's warriors, once whispered in fearful reverence, were now a living nightmare. General Kaine stood before a council of his highest-ranking officers on Miriath's bridge, a holographic star map displaying the fractured remains of the galaxy's old power structures. Alien empires, once too proud to bend the knee, were now caught between survival and rebellion. We've broken the spine of the Federation, Kaine began, his voice steady and calculating, but there are still pockets of resistance. Reports indicate that a coalition of surviving fleets from the Outer Rim is gathering near the Theron system. They believe they can mount a counter-offensive. Captain Rhodes scoffed, crossing her arms. A fool's errand, they'll be crushed like the rest. Indeed, Kaine agreed, but his expression darkened. Still, we cannot afford complacency. The Outer Rim worlds have little to lose and everything to gain from resisting us. If left unchecked, they could become a rallying point for insurgents. Rhodes leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with ambition. I'll lead the attack. Let me wipe them out before they become a threat. Kaine nodded approvingly. Take our elite forces and leave nothing standing, but be cautious if they're desperate. They may resort to tactics we haven't seen before. Desperation can make even the weakest dangerous. As Rhodes prepared for the next phase of conquest, Kaine turned his attention back to the map. His gaze was drawn to a system far beyond the edge of known space, one that had remained untouched during humanity's resurgence, the mysterious Elysian Expanse. For centuries, the Expanse had been shrouded in mystery. Few ventured there, and even fewer returned. It was a region spoken of only in the most ancient of galactic texts, a place of legends where advanced civilizations had disappeared without a trace. The Federation had avoided it, considering it cursed or uninhabitable. But Kaine wasn't a man to believe in curses, he believed in strategy, and something about the Expanse pulled at his instincts. One of his intelligence officers, a seasoned human operative named Vance, noticed Kaine's lingering attention on the Expanse. Curious about the Expanse, General? Vance asked, stepping forward. It's been a black hole in the galaxy's data for as long as we've had records. The Federation never bothered with it. Kaine's eyes narrowed, which makes it the perfect place for something or someone to hide. We've reclaimed the known galaxy, but we haven't faced every challenge yet. I want to know what lies in the Expanse. Vance raised an eyebrow. You think there's something there that could be a threat? I don't know, Kaine admitted, but we didn't survive by ignoring potential dangers. Prepare an expedition. I'll lead it personally. Vance's surprise was clear, but he nodded. As you command, General. As preparations were made for the expedition, Captain Rhodes and her forces departed to crush the remnants of the Outer Rim coalition. Meanwhile, Kaine's fleet, reduced to a select few warships, made its way toward the Elysian Expanse. The journey was long, the stars growing more distant as they ventured beyond the known boundaries of the galaxy. The space around them seemed eerily quiet, almost as if they were entering a realm untouched by time. As they neared the Expanse, strange energy readings began to appear on their scanners, readings unlike anything they had encountered before. What do you make of this? Kaine asked Vance, who was monitoring the data closely. It's odd, Vance replied, frowning. There's no known power source that matches these signatures. It's almost as if the very fabric of space is different here. As they crossed into the expanse, their surroundings changed dramatically. The once empty void was filled with shimmering nebulae and distant, pulsing lights. Massive structures, ancient and crumbling, drifted aimlessly through space. It was clear that something or someone had once thrived here, but now it was nothing more than a graveyard of civilizations long forgotten. Kaine's gut told him they were not alone. "Stay alert," he ordered. "Something is watching us." And then, without warning, their sensors went dark. The entire fleet was plunged into silence as every system aboard the ships flickered and died. "What the hell just happened?" one of the officers shouted, frantically attempting to reboot the systems. Vance's face was grim. "We've been hit by an energy surge of unknown origin. It's like nothing we've ever encountered." Before Kaine could respond, a strange, ethereal voice echoed throughout the bridge, resonating deep within their minds. "You have entered forbidden space. The guardians of the Elysian Expanse will not allow your trespass." Kaine's eyes narrowed. "Who are you? Show yourself." The voice responded, calm but cold. "We are the remnants of a once great power, long forgotten by your kind. We are the keepers of the Expanse, and we have watched civilizations rise and fall. Your kind is no different, General Kaine. Humanity's thirst for conquest will lead to its destruction, just as it has before." A holographic figure materialized before them, a tall, imposing being, unlike any race Kaine had encountered. Its form was humanoid but covered in an intricate armor of shifting light and energy. The figure's eyes glowed with ancient knowledge, and its voice was a mix of warning and certainty. "You have claimed much in the galaxy," the figure continued, "but you cannot claim the Expanse. Turn back now, or face annihilation." Kaine, ever defiant, stood his ground. "We do not fear legends. Humanity has risen before, and we will rise again. If you stand in our way, we will destroy you." The figure's gaze seemed to pierce Kaine's very soul. "You do not understand the forces you are dealing with. The Expanse holds powers far beyond your comprehension, powers that could undo the very fabric of your existence. You have been warned." And with that, the figure vanished, leaving Kaine and his fleet in stunned silence. As the systems slowly rebooted, Vance turned to Kaine. "What do we do, General?" Kaine's jaw tightened. "We push forward. We came here to uncover the secrets of the Expanse, and that's exactly what we'll do. Prepare for battle. If these keepers want a fight, we'll give them one." Little did Kaine know, the forces waiting for him in the Elysian Expanse were unlike anything humanity had ever faced. The ancient guardians wielded powers that defied the laws of nature, and the price for trespassing in their domain would be higher than he could have ever imagined. The battle for the galaxy's ultimate power was about to begin, and it would test humanity's warriors like never before. But Kaine had never been one to back down from a challenge. And so, the war for the Elysian Expanse began. As General Kaine's fleet advanced deeper into the Elysian Expanse, tension mounted within the ranks. Despite their confidence, the eerie silence and strange energy signatures unnerved even the most seasoned warriors. Kaine, however, remained resolute. He had faced overwhelming odds before, and each time, humanity had emerged victorious. This time would be no different, or so he thought. The Expanse, however, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. As the fleet pushed further into its heart, the surroundings became increasingly bizarre. Space itself seemed to twist and warp, and massive, incomprehensible structures loomed in the distance, their origins lost to time. The very fabric of reality felt unstable, as if they were moving through a dimension outside the known universe. "Energy fluctuations are off the charts," Vance reported, his voice tinged with worry. "We're entering uncharted territory. If we push much further, I can't guarantee the safety of the fleet." Kaine glanced at the screen, then back at Vance. "We didn't come here to play it safe. Prepare for full deployment. Whatever these keepers are, they're about to learn what it means to face humanity." Suddenly, without warning, the fleet was engulfed in a shimmering, translucent field. It stretched out like a web, cutting off communications and power to the ships, trapping them in a stasis-like state. The alien voice returned, louder and more forceful this time, resonating within the very walls of the ship. "You were warned, General Kaine," the voice echoed, filled with ancient authority. "You have crossed the boundary into forbidden space. Now, you will face the consequences." The holographic figure of the Keeper reappeared on the bridge, but this time, it was joined by more beings, guardians of the Expanse. each more imposing and ethereal than the last. They hovered in place, exuding an overwhelming sense of power and otherworldly presence. "We are the protectors of the Elysian Expanse," the keeper said, its voice echoing across the ship. "Long ago, civilizations greater than yours tried to control the forces here. All of them fell, consumed by their own hubris. You will share their fate unless you turn back now." Kaine's hand clenched into a fist. "You underestimate us. Humanity isn't like the others who came before. We are stronger. We are relentless. If you think we'll back down now, you don't know what we're capable of." The keeper's eyes glowed brighter, its expression unreadable. "Your strength will not save you, human. The Expanse holds forces beyond your understanding, forces that could unravel the very essence of your existence. You seek to conquer what cannot be conquered." As Kaine prepared to give the order to attack, the entire fleet shuddered violently. A wave of raw, unidentifiable energy surged through the ships, disabling their systems once again. The lights flickered, and the bridge was plunged into darkness. When the systems finally flickered back to life, they were surrounded by an otherworldly fleet, ships unlike any Kaine had ever seen, made of pure energy and matter beyond comprehension. "Sir, we're surrounded," Vance whispered, his voice barely above a breath. "We can't win this fight. These aren't ships, they're something else." Kaine stared at the energy constructs, his mind racing. For the first time in his long career as a warrior, he was unsure of the outcome. These beings were beyond anything humanity had ever faced. The power they wielded wasn't simply technological, it was primordial, ancient, and devastating. But Kaine wasn't ready to give up. "We've faced impossible odds before," he said, his voice strong. "This is no different. We press on." Before he could issue the command, the keeper spoke again. "You misunderstand, General Kaine. This is not a battle you can win. This is not a conflict of weapons or willpower. The forces of the Expanse do not operate under your rules. You cannot fight what you do not understand." In an instant, Kaine felt something shift in his mind. A wave of realization swept over him, something deeper than mere knowledge. The keepers weren't simply guarding the Expanse, they were the Expanse, beings who had transcended physical form, controlling the very fabric of spacetime itself. They had allowed the civilizations of the galaxy to rise and fall, watching, guiding, and intervening only when necessary. "We don't want to destroy you," the keeper continued, "but we will if you force our hand. Return to the galaxy you know, leave the Expanse, and you will be spared." Kaine stood frozen, weighing his options. Every instinct told him to fight, but this wasn't a battle he could win through force alone. If they stayed, humanity's resurgence might end here, not because of weakness, but because they had encountered something far beyond their understanding. For the first time in his life, Kaine hesitated. "General," Vance said quietly, stepping forward, maybe it's time to retreat. We've done what we came here to do. We've proven humanity's strength across the galaxy, but this is something else. We can't conquer everything." Kaine's jaw clenched, his mind battling between pride and survival. He had led his people through countless victories, through battles that seemed impossible. But here, in the Elysian Expanse, it wasn't just about winning, it was about survival, about knowing when to push forward, and when to pull back. With a deep breath, Kaine made his decision. He turned to the keeper, his voice steady but filled with reluctant respect. "We will leave," he said, "but know this, we are not defeated. Humanity never surrenders. Today, we step back, but one day we will return, and when we do, we will be ready." The keeper's expression softened, almost as if it understood Kaine's struggle. "Perhaps, but know this, General Kaine, there are some things in this universe that even humanity cannot conquer." As the keepers lowered the energy field surrounding the fleet, the ships regained power. Kaine ordered the fleet to retreat, their engines igniting as they pulled away from the Expanse. The strange, shimmering nebulae faded behind them as they returned to the known galaxy. In the silence of the bridge, Kaine stood alone, staring out at the stars. He had made the right choice, but it weighed heavily on him. For the first time in his life, he had encountered something that could not be overpowered by force, something that reminded him of humanity's limits, no matter how strong they had become. But as the fleet sailed back toward the heart of the galaxy, Kaine knew one thing for certain: humanity's story wasn't over. The ancient warriors had resurfaced, and they had conquered. The galaxy now feared the name of Earth once more, and though they had left the Elysian Expanse untouched, Kaine knew that one day, they would return not as conquerors, but as equals to the mysteries that lay beyond the stars. The galaxy, in all its vastness, had yet to see the true potential of Earth's greatest warriors.